We're live. It's me. And it's Aley from Heart and Soul Connected. And we're here to do psychic profiles. And thank you, Aley, for showing up and
of course,
choosing to join us. And it's this has just been a delightful journey for me personally, because I know when I read people, they're always, well, what's the path you took to get from here to there? And it's like I keep trying to tell them everybody's different, but I don't think until they hear how different everybody is and how many other things. I've got a person coming on in the next couple of weeks who's an antique dealer.
Oh, cool.
And I have watched her. She used to say, "Oh, I'm not psychic like you." I used to read in her vintage store. And I said, "Hell if you aren't, girl." I've seen her just zone in, scoop in, and a lot of people are like that.
Yeah.
They don't even begin to understand how many of them are psychic. And people are like, "Well, what's my purpose in life?" Well, if your purpose is like hers, we're getting a lot of people pouring in.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you. And people don't know. Occasionally I'll call out someone if I know they've been absent without leave or I knew they were sick. But if you're not called out, it means you're healthy and you're doing well.
I get you. Yeah.
Anyway, I talked to my friend and I said, "I want you to come do this." And she said, "But I'm not psychic like you." And I said, I started talking to her about the sort of topics we cover just in broad brushstrokes. And she said, "Well, yeah, I do that." And I said, "So does everyone." And they don't understand that they do.
I know. And when I came here, I didn't understand it either. I thought just interviewing people was all I could ever do, that I didn't have the ability to do anything more than that.
Well, I invited you on my show. That's how we met, to talk about I Ching, because I I Ching. It's I Ching.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's how we met. That must have been 4 years ago.
Almost 5, I think, because I think you and I came in around the same time.
December to the 20th in the 20th.
And mine was November. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So just a month apart. Yeah.
So anyway, folks, this is going to be a fun interview. And for y'all who know the questions, Aley doesn't. I'm going to tell you, no one has seen the questions before I ask them. All the psychics are there. Like, I even had one who said, "Well, can I see a copy of the questions?" And I said, "No, because
it's more fun this way." Yeah.
I said, if that means you won't come on, then too bad." And he went, "Oh, no, I want to do it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
What we're going to do is 20 questions, and then you and I can sort of chit chat afterwards about where we are and what we're doing with our lives.
Sure thing. Okay. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. When did you first realize you might have psychic abilities?
There was, I had been, whenever I'd go and have a reading, they would tell me I was psychic, and I'm like, "Oh, no, you know." But if I really think back upon it, as a child, I had an invisible friend. So I must have had psychic abilities from the very beginning. I just didn't trust it.
Yeah, well, that was sort of something subtler. Did you have a subtle immersion into it, or an undeniable moment when you said, "Oh my God, I'm doing this"?
I think it was more subtle, Nancy Jean. Okay. Yeah, I do.
Do you remember the first experience you might have had? Even I know now when I look back on my childhood, I can see, because when you're a kid, I'm going to explain this to everybody. When you're a kid, you think everybody's seeing what you're seeing. It never occurs to you.
Yeah.
So what did you...
that was Billy, my invisible friend. I apparently just talked about him all the time. "Don't sit on Billy. He's right there with you." And my family was wonderful. They were like, "Okay, everybody be careful of Billy." I mean, they really were. I had no silliness with it. So, yeah.
They didn't try to beat the devil out of you?
No, they did not. And it's because my mother had the abilities.
Oh,
she really did. Yeah.
So she kind of knew.
Yeah, she did.
So you've sort of, this was a quick explanation. That's how people reacted around you with your shared experience. But what about when you became an adult and you began to realize more of what you were? What was there? Were they skeptical? Were they supportive? A mix?
by the time I got to high school, college, I knew who I could tell and who I couldn't tell.
Oh yeah, well that's part of being psychic.
That's part of being psychic, yes. And I remember some people thinking, oh yeah, right. And they, the thing I read around that time was that you can't be a prophet in your own hometown. And I realized that I had to kind of keep myself under wraps around the people that knew me only as this and not as that. Yeah. Yeah.
The famous story, biblical story of when Jesus goes back to Nazareth and they want to throw him off the cliff. Nobody believes you.
No, nobody does. Nobody that's known you for a long time. Yeah.
Did you seek training or
Yes.
just explore? Oh, did you? What kind of training did you get?
By the time that I realized I wanted to read tarot, there was a lady that was, I don't even know how I hooked up with this wonderful lady, but she was fabulous. And she had me come over to her house once a week, and she would teach me one card after another card. Now I still don't read the tarot, but she was so patient and so kind with me. And every time something like that would come up, I would seek it as well. More so when I was in my later 30s, early 40s, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any specific tools that were part of your practice early or that you developed?
I'm a voracious reader as an English teacher, so I was always trying to find any kind of astrology books, but they were so generic and you couldn't go into a bookstore and find anything at that point. My best friend's father ran a place called America's Stonehenge in New Hampshire.
Oh, cool.
And they were very instrumental. Anya Seton would come to their house, and they had other mystical people come, and I would get involved with that. And I was also responsible for me going to the harmonic convergence that they had. This group of stones that was in this place, they have alignment with Stonehenge, actually. I mean, there's all the way that the sun comes in and everything. So I was always very, very interested in that, and would seek out and do those things with them.
Yeah, when you can find spirit in a place where it's actually expressing itself in this place, it's really important.
Very true. Very true.
And do you or did you have mentors and teachers? And what was the best advice they gave you?
I did. I had mentors and teachers in when I lived in Panama City, Florida. It was around 1991, and we had a spiritual group. We just connected. We found each other at the same time in a metaphysical store, and we all got together. And I learned all about the stones at that time. And also all about Native American spirituality. And we went to a lot of Native American events together. Like we did a medicine wheel, we did a powwow, we did all kinds of stuff. And I learned about smudging. I mean, and then I also learned about channeling. I wasn't channeling, but the others were. And so that's when I started doing dream classes. That was my gift.
Cool.
At that. Yeah.
Okay. And how did you tell the difference between a psychic experience and what was your imagination?
I think it took me a long time to realize that the voices that I was hearing were in here, and it was in my voice. Then they needed to be outside of me. And so it was over time that I realized all those times, all those hits that I got were real and not in my imagination. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't come to terms with. They think that it has to be something from the outside, or you have to be able to see a vision of something. And I don't think that's true. And so once I let my guard down and realized between that and the visitations I would get in my dreams from my dead relatives, that made a big difference. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Were there real moments when you've doubted yourself?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And even now, if I come up with something that I'm reading on and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go with this, and then it turns out to be something that means something to the person I'm reading, I go, oh wow, this, and I don't know if that just keeps me humble or not, and I think it does, and I think we kind of all are surprised sometimes by what it is that, and it isn't us, it's them.
No, it isn't, and
yeah,
it's a different. It is a different kind of feeling, but when you do it so much, it's hard to separate.
It is.
Your being.
It is. Right. Yeah.
How do you handle skepticism when people want you to prove yourself?
My own children are a good example. They support everything I do, but they're like, right, Mom, sure. When the person in the White House won, which we know he didn't, but I told my children that things were going to be very, very bad, and they were like, it's not going to be that bad. And I'm like, you have to trust me on this one. It's going to be very bad. And I just have to let it go then. And it's showing itself to be exactly what it was, but they were very skeptical. And I know that others are too. They really, the scientists want the proof, and the logical ones want the proof. And yet a lot of those people have faith in their own religious beliefs, but they can't believe something that isn't. That's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah, I know it is. And it's interesting to watch them squirm, because my second husband was a physicist, and he was like a really way up there, and he developed microchip technology, and he developed the epoxy. And I've said this before, so people, you please don't turn us off. He developed the epoxy because before he developed this stuff with another guy at TI, you couldn't put a chip out in space because the solar winds would burn it up.
Oh, okay.
So he and this guy developed an epoxy, and he said just one day they were sitting there, and he goes, well, this would work. And this guy knew about this other part, and the two of them put their two parts together, and all of a sudden they had a new material. And that's why we have cell phones, and satellites don't look like Telstar. And well, the funny part was when he was dying in 2004, he had cancer, and he was in the hospital, and he'd already said, let me go. He'd already fought cancer once. He said, just let me go, get me out of here as fast as you can, least pain possible. And he'd already had a stroke. And so he said, I'm done. And so I was talking to him, and I said, honey, is there anything you really, really, really regret in your life? And now this is a kid who was born in 1931, avoided the Nazis for most of his youth in London, and finally dug his whole family up at 1931 and moved them to America, to a new country, and started from ground zero.
Wow.
And so he'd had a lot of considering and reconsidering. And he looked at me and he goes, that damned epoxy.
Really?
And I said, why? And he said, I hate cell phones. He had created the thing that made them possible, and he was like, he could never forgive himself for that.
Oh, for God's sake.
Well, if you can live your whole life and that's all you're going to forgive yourself for, I think that's pretty good. But,
and look, he did give a gift to the universe, really.
Because it was good. It was good. I hate to tell him it's good, but he had other pioneer patents, other creative moments. He helped develop color on flat screen TVs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was, and the first time they put it up and showed everybody how it worked, he goes, someday they'll just hang TVs up on a wall like a picture, and everybody scoffed at him because everything at that point was cathode ray tubes. And he said, yes, I remember these people. He said they had no vision. They had no vision.
No vision. Yeah. But that's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with skeptics. People that have you can't think out of the box. Yeah.
That's literally true.
Yeah.
Have your abilities gone through strong and weak phases?
I have to say that they've only gained more and more since 2020.
Okay.
Honestly. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you do to protect your energy?
I usually do a bit of meditation before I start, ask for the guides to come in. I might smudge and light candles and yeah, sometimes bubble wrap. And certainly if I'm traveling, I got the team with me trying
Yeah.
to keep out
Protection.
the bad stuff. Yeah.
Do you have a daily ritual that you go through?
I don't. And the reason is because I work pretty much so much that it just is, I can fly by the seat of my pants, but at the same time, I have to, this problem comes up, that problem comes up. I can't, it might interrupt that daily routine.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's fine. I mean, that's
Yeah,
why I asked.
everybody's different. Yep.
Do you think your psychic abilities are innate, not just yours, but everyone's?
I think everybody has it. I think there's an intuition we all have, and that if you want to achieve it, and you have to believe it, and you have to trust it, and you have to give it the time it needs in order to develop, because I think that it's a continuous, it's like all education or all learning. It's a continuous stream that you need to work with. Yeah.
And what signs should people watch out for from your experience that said that they're gifted?
I would like to see more people look at the symbology of things that happen to them, the synchronicities, number one, the birds that come to them, or the music that comes on the radio that just you haven't heard for years. I think we have to trust ourselves, and some things can't be explained, and some things might not mean anything, but at the same time, they might mean a great deal. So yeah, I'd love to see that. And also I'd love people to write down their dreams, and you can remember them if you want to. Yeah.
And that's, you've worked with dreams a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. How has this work changed your worldview or your own beliefs?
It's expanded them. It's I've come in contact with so many fabulous people here, not only as readers and teachers, but the community, the development of the community, the way they support each other. I just feel like I live in goosebumps an awful lot. I do. Yeah. Yep. There's a lot.
And how has it affected your beliefs in life and death?
Fortunately, I've always believed in reincarnation and life after death for a long, long, long time. And I also believe that we can time travel, honestly, but mostly from here. And that has been it isn't easy. I don't want to say it's easy. It helps me understand that those people aren't gone forever, and that they are around me. The same with my pets. But I have a harder time with the pets, and I think it's because they leave too fast. Yeah. They're not around as long. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This is, what's the most powerful reading you've ever done? Or experience you've had, or working with dreams, or however?
Gosh. That's hard to say. I think it had something to do with when I started at the very beginning, I wasn't reading. I was just facilitating readings on my show. And I had taken a class in, it wasn't channeling. It was something else. It was something totally different. But I started, it was a psychic development class, but I started being able to read mediumship. And somebody asked a question in the chat about their brother. And I was on with Susan Lynn at the time, and she was giving her answer. And I said, did he like to dance? I don't know why. she was doing the readings. I wasn't really. And the person said yes. And I said, I see him standing in a line like at a disco. And oh, he loved to dance. And I didn't say it, but I believe that he died from AIDS. And I didn't say it. And so the lady said, yes, he loved that and this and that. And then she said, he died from AIDS in the chat. And that blew my mind. And I was sorry that I didn't say it, but it was almost like I felt it was too personal and I didn't want to, now I just say it. And
I know.
And yeah. But that's learning.
We get bolder as we get on.
We do. Absolutely.
Well, someone one time said to me, if you were doing a reading for someone and you all of a sudden had a flash that they were hit by a bus, what would you do with that person? Well, I'm certainly not going to tell them they were hit by a bus because, that may not happen. My only response could be, I'd tell them to look both ways. Real careful.
Oh, you're saying that they could get hit by a bus. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. There are some things that we are not meant to know. And the other thing that I think is very important is to say the energies today say that maybe it would be not a good idea to go anywhere. I remember that piece of advice, actually. If somebody says, if a psychic says, you're going to fall off a horse on Tuesday, well, you can choose not to get on one. And I remember that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. How do you deliver sensitive and complex messages? You just kind of went through one, but when you feel that coming on, how do you deal with it?
I think the hardest one is I have these cards that are called the Beloved Dead that I use. And there's one, and it's a guy in a Boy Scout uniform, and he's holding a bottle of gin, and it says addiction. And whenever I get that card, I get a little nervous about how I want to read it. It's usually about somebody on the other side, but there are many kinds of addiction. Right. And actually, we're all addicted to something. So I kind of bring that in. And sometimes I'll get, yes, he was an alcoholic, or yes, he was a gambler, or whatever it was. But I think it's incumbent upon us to be as kind as possible without, I just think boldness in some cases is, or I'd like to talk to you about this in a private reading.
Right. And have you ever done public readings?
Not in, well, yeah, I did. It was one psychic fair that I did. I didn't care for it though. I didn't care for it.
It's a tough land.
I bet it is. Yeah.
Really. I did a lot of them, but
I know.
The worst was that everybody wanted to be your friend and all the other psychics wanted to hug you and touch you. And I don't like being hugged and touched by anybody. I don't care if you're psychic or not.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you're feeling. I know that feeling.
They want to rub up against you and get your.
Well, the problem was that one psychic fair, when I was first doing them, I realized that the guy who was organizing the big hug at the center of the room before we opened the doors, that wasn't a yay Rob team spirit thing. It was he was sucking everybody else's energy in.
Oh, it was a vampire. Yeah.
And I was like, no. And he came over and he said, well, you didn't join the big hug. And I said, no. I mean, what am I going to say? No. And I'm not going to tell you why.
Right.
And he never asked me again. So
that's okay. It's like when I was at this event, there were people, and it reminded me of calling, French fries, caramel apples. It reminded me of hawking their own stuff. And it was so pervasive and loud and disturbing. I thought, I don't like this atmosphere. This isn't me. I can't.
Well, the ones they didn't have that much of that stuff. I used to sit next to a guy who read the Bible.
Oh dear.
No.
Oh,
You have
not in a bad way. Okay.
No,
okay.
He had this, and I don't know what version it was or anything else. And he'd tell you to pick between this number and this number, and then pick 1, 2, 3, 4, and he'd read that quarter page in that book, and it was the Bible.
Okay.
And he was unerringly right, at least about me.
Wow.
I would let him read me. And he was just the nicest man. And I mean, and I like the guys who read chicken bones.
Well, yeah. I mean, there is something to be said about if this is what resonates with you.
Bibliomancy, yes. That's
bibliomancy. Yeah. Yeah. You can do that with any book. If you have to ask a question, open a book. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
And that's the one he chose to use. And he would get ignored by a lot of people. And I'd say, no, don't ignore him. I mean, he's not, of course, this was back in the era in the late 80s in Texas, 70s and 80s, when you would have to go past the Bible thumpers to get into the show where they were having the fair. And if you could get rid of all the people that just forgot to wear their Little House on the Prairie clothes, you could be fine. And, so once you get past them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Interesting.
The old days. The
old days. Yeah.
And, I don't ever want to see them come back.
I don't either.
Okay, this is advice and inspiration from Aley. This is your chance to do it. What advice would you give someone starting to explore their gifts?
Oh gosh, keep working at it, but let it go. It's a very fine mix. It's like you want to hurry, you want to get them right away, but it's taking too long. But every little thing adds a drop into that beautiful bottle. And take as many classes as you possibly can and add to your toolbox, because your toolbox should contain everything. Doesn't mean you have to do everything you learn about. As a matter of fact, it was a big surprise for me to work with Val Klingenbeck in her Akashic Records readings class and listen to it so many times. All of a sudden I can now read Akashic Records. It's like, I didn't think I'd ever be interested in that. And, but I didn't push it. I didn't rush it. I didn't even think I wanted to do it. So the same thing with your cards. And the thing is that we all need more spiritual people, spiritual teachers out there. And we lift each other by what we do. And the collaborations are beautiful, especially when you do a reading and it's so close to your collaborator's reading that it's like you planned it that way. So there's just so much and it's not too big a market, because actually everybody's psychic, as we said earlier, and you have that ability. You just may do it in a different way than somebody else's, and that doesn't make it right or wrong. It just is what it is.
It's just who you are.
It's just who you are.
We'd all be real boring if everybody read Tarot. Trust me, it'd be boring.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
And what did you wish that you had known earlier?
I wish I had known earlier. I wish I had trusted myself more to know that I had gifts that I just left untapped. I was told over and over again. And I've had people come and say, well, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? What's my gift? What's my gift? We need to find it out ourselves. We absolutely do. We can recommend stuff. We can say, oh yeah, you should try this, you should try that. But you innately know everything, especially since you've been alive for so many times in past. We're just relearning. That's all we're doing is relearning. I wish I'd been told that.
Yeah, I was at a psychic fair once in my early 30s. And this woman stood up from behind a table and came around and she said, you should be on this side of the table. Now, mind you, I already read cards and knew a lot of stuff. But I was like, oh, well, I'm not. And I wasn't sure I could do it in that kind of a high pressure environment. She eventually became a good friend of mine. And she could actually see inside people and see health things, which I've never been able to. That's nothing I've ever really even tried to do. But I'm sure if I wanted to do it, somehow I could do it. I just don't want to do it.
No, I agree. Yeah.
But she was very, 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 I know what you mean when people try to tell you and you go, who, me? Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
especially if you compare yourself to somebody else, because it's the comparison is the thief of joy.
That's right.
Nobody has to be exactly the same ever. So yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
How soon, if someone really starts to work on this stuff, how soon might they notice real changes in themselves, do you think? Have you worked with someone and seen changes come through them?
Oh, yeah. I have. I have had so many people in the chat that I have tried to empower and and I don't mean I'm responsible for their growth. All I mean is that the potentiality everybody has just needs to be massaged, I guess, or
Nurtured?
Nurtured. Thank you. Yes. And I have seen exponential growth in so many people who have decided that this was for them. And, they're just, they have memberships now. They have classes now. They have, it's amazing. It's just, everybody just needs that belief, that seed of belief, I think, in order to grow.
And you've been a master at inviting people in and saying, come on over and speak on my show and do this with us and give them a chance to see if they like it, because not everyone's going to like being on YouTube. Not everyone's going to be.
Yeah. No, they're not. Absolutely not. And I think I just recently had a question and answer for people who just began channels, because there's so much, even I'm still learning. And I think we all have need for that, but there's so many of us that, but there's never enough of us. Let's put it that way. There's room for everybody, and everybody's.
Yeah. And if you've got 1,000 followers, those are 1,000 people that need to hear from you. If you have more, if you have 100,000 followers, then God bless you for putting up with it, because that's the money's
that's a lot of followers. It is.
How can someone find a trustworthy psychic community or mentor? Now, I know now that we're not in COVID or lockdown anymore, people can go out and find communities, but what would be your guidance for them?
If you want an outside community, I would go with looking at, what is the app where people have groups that meet up? It's Meetup. I think that's the name of it.
That's what it's called, Meetup. Yes.
Meetup. That's what it's called.
Clever name, man.
Yeah. Perfect name. I have done that with before all this. I've gone to different meetups, and I tried several of them. I didn't want to spend a lot of money, but like they have book clubs, but they also have spiritual stuff, and it's wonderful. Or your local metaphysical community has the same availability. You can check with the metaphysical stores. And there's actually one I signed up for but haven't done yet, and it is a community for people in my town that you can get together, and they have different events, and one of them is that event as well. But I have to say that when I looked at my my demographic for many years, most people were between 45 and 70, or maybe 75. Now I have opened up a little more because I've been doing some advertising. And so I'm seeing different demographics coming in now.
Cool.
But I really have to say that this community here that we all built, it's not just me by bringing people in. You can go to, I see all my people here. I see all your people here. They go on multiple channels. They know each other, and they, how are you feeling today? What are you doing? These people say that if they didn't have this, they'd have nothing, because they can't get out.
Right.
And so this community that we have all built in the last 4 or 5 years is one of the best ones. And I feel like I've met these people in real life, and I have with some, but it's really a wonderful, and you can choose to be here or not be here, or you can lurk. You can do anything you want if you don't want to participate. And there's just something beautiful about that. So, yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And one of my former Tarot students, when I used to teach live people in a real place that you could touch, she kept wanting to grow, and she knew tarot wasn't her thing, but she learned kind of the spiritual discipline of dealing with symbols. Anyway, she found it through a yoga community. And she found it through energy healing. And you're going to meet her. Her name's Aley. She's a computer wizard and part of a large national group that does a lot of fundraising for a very worthy cause.
Yeah.
But she said, and I mean, it's a thing that saves lives. I mean, it's not like, but she said, this is where I feel my life should be. And I said, well, okay. But she found this group all on her own, and they had a small psychic fair where they did a lot of energy work and stuff. And I went and visited. It was fascinating.
I bet.
Very different than the old psychic fairs I used to go to, which was table after table of people trying to look like gypsies, but not look like gypsies. Old hippies like me. Okay, now, this is a simple little question that should take you about 2 minutes to answer. What's the biggest lesson you learned on your psychic journey?
I think probably I've become a bit, what is it? I'm not really bolder. It's very hard for me to be a nasty person. It's not my deal, but I do think that it's taught me some boundaries, and that I don't need to please everybody, and it just because I can't, and I don't want to be hurt by something. I've been hurt several times, and everybody is in any community. You can be hurt in any relationship, and I had to learn how to stop taking it personally. So that's probably it, but it's hard sometimes. So
well, it is, because what is more personal than letting your soul speak to people?
Right. That's very true. Yeah.
And when you think what I guess one of the things that I would cover in that is when I've wasted my time. When I tried to help someone and said, hey, we're here, we're going to pick this up, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And they sort of stomp on it. And I'm like, well, I should be older and harder than that. But
yeah. Well, one of the things that's the hardest is the belief that if you're a spiritual person and other people say that they really are, and they really aren't always.
No,
so they can disappoint you. But it was actually a bookstore I worked at many years ago. And the lady was really, she hired me to work, and I was a bookstore manager, so I felt comfortable. But I was in there, and something happened. And she had told me earlier that people don't like her, and so forth and so on. And whatever it was, she yelled and screamed at me and thought she just gave me a hell of a time. And I just said, no wonder people don't like you. And I said, I'm out of here. And I walked out the door. And I thought, this person runs a new age store. How could she be like that? That was a long time ago, but it was an interesting lesson.
Because you run a new age store doesn't mean that you're emotionally balanced.
That's correct.
Matter of fact, my experience with new age people at one point was that they were very imbalanced, and learning my way through all those people was a real lesson unto itself.
Sure. Yep.
So if you could sum up your journey in one sentence, what would it be?
She did it her way.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's the psychic profile.
All right.
For dear Miss Aley.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And I want to thank everyone who's shown up. And we don't normally take questions. We just want you to have the information. And I've enjoyed having everyone here. And the next great psychic profiles. It's going to be intriguing, guys. Dr. Gail's going to be asking me the questions.
Oh, I love that. That should be wonderful.
It's tomorrow at 1 p.m. my time, Central Time, which is 2 in the East and 11 in the West. And the mountains in between there somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward to listening to everybody's journey. This
Oh,
is
and I am getting them into a playlist. I've had a couple little bitty continuations of my health setbacks. Plus, I got very busy. All of a sudden, this is one of the things I did today.
Oh my God, they're so beautiful, Nancy
That's
Jean.
Feminine Divine.
Oh,
and I got to get that off to a lady because she's going to be moving to a different address, and I need to get it to her like tomorrow. And then this is Cosmic Flower.
Oh, that's beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is what I got from my son-in-law for my birthday coming up.
Cool.
And it's lepidolite heart.
That's an incredibly powerful stone.
It is. I've had one break up after I've had it because it takes your stress away.
Well, it does. And it's a stone that was made to disintegrate.
Right.
And it can be really solid like that one, but I use a lot of lepidolite sheets in my grids. Yes. I'll use it as a center stone to pull energy in.
It's just a gorgeous stone. And if it breaks or whatever happens to it, it was meant to be, because when that happens, it's done with you, or
That's
the work
right.
that it's doing with you. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm glad I could bring a stone in to show you as well, Nancy.
Yes, I'm glad you did too. Yeah. And go take care of yourself, and no more of those kidney stones, lady.
No more kidney stones. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Wait a minute. I got to go get my thing to go stop. Bye. That's the end of the stream.